Welcome back to R&R Saturdays, where you restore and renew your heart that may have been broken, wounded, or wearied the past week. Welcome back and thank you for coming back. And I hope that this time will rest your heart as you listen to us. Today, I'm very, very grateful and very blessed. Whenever I talk to this guy, I always feel like something lights up in my heart. I feel fired up. Tell you more about himself. Let us welcome Kirby Liabad. Hello,
Hey
Kirby.
Marge, thanks
Hello.
for having me in your R&R. Saktong-sakto kasi I talk about motivation.
Oh.
Parang shift naman, R&R, di ba? So
Oh.
we can renew ourselves as well. So hey, thanks for having me here.
How do you balance work and home life now that you work from home?
Yeah, I actually, prior the pandemic, I've been working from home.
Mhm.
And I just do talks outside from home when I'm required since some companies do get me to become their speakers or trainer.
Mhm.
And yes, I'm quite familiar with that environment. In fact, my studio slash office and slash kids knocking on the door when they need something, right? Or people suddenly Shopee arrives, Lazada arrives. These things get really mixed up, especially in these times of pandemic, right? And this
Mhm.
quarantine period. And yeah, it's important to really have that boundary between work time and actually family time.
Mhm.
Minsan nakikita natin, yes, it's advantageous that your family's with you and you can spend time with them.
Mhm.
But somehow, the kids also have to know, when can we have Papa?
Mhm.
When can we have Papa fully? Hindi yung, yeah, we have Papa, but half of his mind is in his work, right? So that's what I try to do. I go for fullness of attention, and fullness of attention at work also, and with my family. So if it's time to work, work. If it's time for break, break. And it's time for family time, then it's family time, right? So ganon, that's how I deal with it. Kasi I'm an entrepreneur. So the challenge really, Marge, is to motivate myself and manage myself. I think it's more convenient pa nga if you're an employee somehow, because there's a boss who you should clock in at this time, you should end your work hours at this time. There's a bit of structure that is mandated upon you, and we take that for granted also. But it's challenging for me because I have to manage it. I can like compromise from time to time, but I see that it's good to have structure.
So, as a work from home dad, how do you make that structure? How is your day like, and how do you manage your time and discipline your time? When it's time for work, you work. When it's time for family, you shut off work, or you set it aside. How do you exactly have that rule of life? They call it like a schedule for you that works.
Yeah, the a plan of life.
Yes, a plan of
That's
life.
from Jose Maria Escriva.
Yes.
And I would put it this way. Since I am very flexible, I can start as early as I can. So baliktad, people think that they're into entrepreneurship. Yeah, we can start late as we can. Ako naman, I can start at 5 a.m. I can start at
Wow.
5:30 a.m. So I start early. I wake up early and I sleep early so that I can have my prayer time, I can have my work time when everyone's quiet, and when the bustle of the
Mm-mm.
city starts na, kumbaga gumigising na yung mga anak ko, then I've done 3 hours of work already. Then I can be there for them because I also homeschool my kids, me and my wife. So
Wow.
I have to motivate them before I motivate other people in my fired
Wow.
up life. I have to like encourage them, give them a hug, guide them. How's your schooling? You have any concerns? Hey, I try to give them a career path, or at least insinuate to them some things I see for them, or even ask them what is their one passion that they can pursue. Or while still early, they can discover that already. So that's how I like manage my day. Start early, but this is the beautiful thing. End early. No, I end after my live show at 4 p.m. And 4 p.m. onwards, yun na, I can have time for family, time for community, time for friends. Di ba? Kailangan natin yun, mga kaibigan. All
Oo
right.
nga.
So that's how my day structured. And do I become faithful to that each and every day? Sometimes not wake up at 5, minsan 6:30, nagiging alas 7. Yeah, bawi-bawi na lang in terms of schedule. But I would say that's how my typical day looks like. That's my plan of life. Kumbaga.
So, when you end at 4 p.m., what do you do? Like, how do you spend the free time that you have? How does
Yeah,
that look like?
yeah, it would look like this. I go walking. I go walking. So naglalakad ako, but it's also my nurturing time. Kasi wala na, ubus na ang aking energy with my show, creating content, building my business in the morning and in the afternoon. So wala na akong may bibigay sa aking pag-iisip. Meron pa naman, pero it's time again to receive. So I do walking about 10,000 steps if I can, if I can manage. And I listen to podcasts of people who are light years ahead of what I'm doing. Okay? Because kasi what I'm doing, I've been doing the Fired Up Life for almost 5 years. But the people I listen to on podcasts, I've been doing it for 11 years, 10 years, and I really learn a lot from them. So pag may narinig akong golden nugget or something that would trigger me, ayan, i-apply ko na naman kinabukasan yan. So that's how I balance everything, hindi puro bigay-bigay, no? Tanggap ka din ng wisdom, no? And in the evening, most of the time I spend it with Couples for Christ in serving. So yeah, no, nakakatanggap din ako ng teachings, guidance, um, fellowship and love, right? So and of course family with that. So that's how it would turn out. That's what I do after 4 p.m. Sometimes merong pa overtime pag may mga deadlines. I mean, not overtime in the strict sense you have to file an overtime, but ano din, no, there's also that moments where I have to really deliver kasi may deadlines that I set for myself also.
So, how do you rest and recreate aside from listening to podcasts and walking? Are there any tips that you can share with us that has helped you? What
Yeah.
recreates you?
The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up at 5 is have a coffee date with the Lord. All right. So that's baka mababaw lang para sa iba pero pag iniisip ko na nagbubrew ako ng kape, the process of brewing, I do my French press and all this. It excites me. It may not excite the viewers for some. Sige, pagawa na lang ng kape. That's why I do have some 3-in-1 in stock somewhere, but I prefer the brew because of the process. It helps me calm my mind, and I imagine having a date with God. So I have a date with the Lord sa balcony ko. I sip my coffee. I look at my plants because I take care of vegetables. I'm excited din ako na tumutubo yung aking mga vegetables each and every day, and I harvest them once a month. Doon ako na-excite, Marge, no? So the first hour really, or maybe the first 30 minutes to an hour is really me receiving as well from the Lord. No? Kasi ano ibibigay ko for the day? Of course, I rested. That's good bodily. But how about spiritually and mentally? So I do my best to really be faithful with that relationship with the Lord. At nakikita ko, no, in times where uh, the the reflections are deep or the reflections are very enriching and nourishing, nakikita ko may rejuvenation of myself. All right. So, ayan, that's how I do it, no? So, kumbaga start and end the day with prayer. And I tweet. I tweet. Kasi saan ko ba ilalagay ito? Yung aking mga na-realize about work or na-realize about sa buhay. So I go to my Twitter, whatever I feel like the Lord wants to tell the people out there. Ayan, I tweet a sentence or two, and
On
it
your
helps
prayer
other
time.
people. Yeah, kasi 'di ba we grew up in with the journals and all, and with this internet and digital age, we can now have online journals, and more so it can be public. It can bless other people, hindi lang tayo. So we can journey and accompany them in their walk in the Lord, or in their walk towards their dreams in life.
Do you use particular tools when you pray? How do you exactly pray, Curbs? How do
Yeah,
you?
I have well, number one, I have my prayer guide. It's either I use Didake or In His Steps, right? Maybe sometimes two of them. Then of course the scripture, the Bible, and I have my own book, 365 Fired Up Days. Believe it
Yes,
or
yes,
not.
yes. A devotional that you can use
Yeah, it's a
whenever you're
devotional.
ready.
It's here, a devotional I wrote for working people. So it's strictly not strictly devotional, spiritual. No, it's more of a
Motivational.
motivational. Kasi pansin ko, meron ba dyan na pang-motivate sa work after I do my spiritual motivation? Can I
Mm.
have like a work motivation? And I saw that gap. Parang wala masyado. Meron naman siguro, but I have to search for that, no? So, sabi ko, why not? No? Why not have this 365 fired up days devotional, which are also repurposed content from my Facebook account. No? So
Mm.
lahat 'yun. Isang taon na ako nagre-reflect every day, posting and posting,
Galing.
podcasting, lahat 'yan blogging, pina-repurpose ko, pina-transcribe ko yung podcast and all. Tapos sabi ko, this will be it. This will be the summary of my daily thoughts. And I'm just happy that many people are blessed with it. So parang ano siya, wala akong sinisikreto. Kumbaga,
Mm.
wala akong tinatago, no? And I make sure that I am able to share everything to the world. Let me share with you, March. I read this book from Todd Henry,
Mhm.
and the title is Die Empty. Huh?
Die
Sabi ko,
empty.
Die Empty, and I got intrigued because ano ba yan? Die broke? Hindi pala, It means that when you die, make sure you've given everything you've got to the world. Every
Yes.
wisdom that you might have gathered, you give it para pag-uwi mo, pag-uwi kay Lord, tama, no? So when you actually rest, no, and be
Mm.
recreated in heaven, no? So when you actually come to rest in the Lord, hindi masabi ng mga tao na sayang, may ibibigay pa to si Kirby pero hindi niya naibigay, sayang yung buhay niya. Now I want to make sure that each day I get to squeeze out whatever the Lord wants me to squeeze out and serve other people with that. And at least in my capacity, with the thoughts that I am inspired to write, with the people I interview, with the books that are still to be written, di ba? Kasi
Mm.
with the pandemic happening, we have this memento mori, di ba? We remember that you shall
Remember
die as
your
well.
day.
And
Mm.
yeah, 'di ba? So the church fathers in our Catholic faith would have a skull in front of them. Not all of them, of
Or
course. May
in
skull, no?
beside them or in the altar to remind
Yeah,
them.
tapos may kandila sa bungo, 'di ba?
Mm.
Then they write and they remember that, hey, we will not be here forever. We've got to write what we can write. We've got to share what we can share. So
Amen.
that's something that really motivates me. Our own mortality. No? The mortality is something na both it's a blessing, di ba?
Mm.
It's a blessing that somehow our life is limited because there's an eternal life, but we make the most out of our life. And the way to live that life is to live a full life. It's to live a fired up life, at least in my own platform. Why not be passionate? Why not be passionate? And that boggles my mind. If you're gonna do something, why do it dispassionately?
Yeah.
Sayang ang oras.
Mhm.
Sayang ang oras. That's what I feel.
That's beautiful, Kirby! Grabe! Dami kong thought bubbles. Pero one thing na na-remind mo sa akin, yung this quote by Corrie Ten Boom, if I may share also. Parang there was this quote that she said that when she gets to heaven and she faces God, she wants to say that, Lord, I have used everything you have given me. There is nothing left. Yun nga, die empty. Meaning lahat ng binigay na gifts sa'yo, ginamit mo, binigay mo as your gift to other people and gift to God as your thanksgiving for giving you all these gifts and graces. And yung memento mori, sobrang totoo. I remember you were telling me before, I remember this time we were talking, tapos parang, yung age, parang we were talking about age, just parang, oh, you said na when I, kunyari, pass away ng mga 80 or 70, ganyan. To sabi ko, parang, wag naman, parang, live naman, parang gusto kong mag-live pa longer. Sabi niya, but, do you want to live that, I mean, forever here? Parang ganun. When I think about it, oh nga naman, parang I don't really want to live forever here. There is eternal life. We're not home yet. But while we are here, we need to live our lives fully. And
That's right.
the reason why we're still here, we still have a purpose to fulfill and a mission to fulfill. So how, Kirby, do you live fully? How do you live a fired up life?
Well, let's first acknowledge that there is sin.
Mm-hmm.
There is sin. There is weakness, and those weaknesses actually bear consequences. And we start off to think about living a full life by acknowledging first that we are weak without God's grace.
Mm-hmm.
Yun muna eh. Kasi parang my professor said, the fullness of life is actually a synonym to holiness. No, it's a synonym to somehow the perfection that we see in Peter's writings, 'di ba? Na be perfect as God is perfect. And we strive towards that. We cannot be perfect because of our concupiscence or inclination to sin, but we do strive every day for that. So when you talk about fullness of life, it's summarized in one word: holiness. Because in that holiness will come happiness. Okay, so kaakibat yan. No? The more we strive for a relationship with God, a good relationship with God, then the more happy we become. The more happy we become. Parang other people would think, kailangan maging masaya muna ako bago ako maging, being grateful to God and other things. No, minsan they think that yeah, I'll serve God when I become happy. Pag okay na ang buhay ko, mayaman na ako, milyonaryo, bayad na lahat ng utang, then I will serve God. Then I will devote my time to Him. So when you ask me what fullness of life is, it's about service. It's about service. It's about that transcendental calling that we have to go beyond ourselves. Now, we talk about Abraham's Maslow,
Hierarchy.
Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We keep on hearing that, and my professor also said, I quote my professors. Actually, Father LaGuardia, no, who
Father
recently passed.
Michael. Oh.
Yeah, Father Mike LaGuardia became one of my professors, and he said that towards the end of Abraham Maslow's life, somehow he was writing there that there is another level on top of self-actualization. Kasi yun lang naririnig natin, di ba? Yung mga basic needs, etc. Then self-actualization. There's self-transcendence. Kasi what is the purpose of self-actualization? Okay, successful ka. Okay, your dreams came true. Then a lot of people's dreams come true and feel like it's empty. Yun pala, walang service. No, walang uh, pagbibigay ng sarili sa iba. Kaya although it was shocking for a lot of the Pharisees, Sadducees, and even the disciples to hear of Jesus preach about being a servant of all, kasi in those times, in the biblical times, the successful people were military leaders, people with power, and people with power have servants in their home, which is like the contrast of unsuccessful to be a slave, di ba? And yun pala, the wisdom is there. It's in the humility. It's in being of service to others. So, nagtatanong mga tao sa Curbs, but why do you create content for people? Why do you create videos? Why do you do those live shows? Yayaman ka ba dyan? I would say, hey, this is, enriching other people's lives. And as I see that happening, I feel like enriched as well. Nabibigyan din ako ng lakas at ng fullness. And I believe that's the way to live life. Being successful can be measured in different ways, but the best way to really measure success is to answer the question, am I truly happy? Am I truly happy with what I'm doing? Kaya we see a lot of successful businessmen, engineers, even biglang nagpapare, no? Kasi doon pala yung tawag nila, no? I have those people who I know some people who are in the late vocation, no? They pursue that because they think that that is success for them. That is happiness for them.
Wow, Kirby. Thank you for that. I guess they call that parang the pursuit of significance in the terms of what the world will use its significance, no? Parang not just success but significance. And but to us, I guess in as Christians, that is service. Parang you live the fullness of life when you serve and you give of yourself. When you give yourself. Um.
I just wanna interject some points about significance.
Okay.
That word, it's not in your control to be significant. Like even if you think like, hey, my goal is to be significant, di ba? Parang it's so a bit pompous, a
Mm-mm.
bit self-serving, but
Yeah.
it's a consequence of servitude. No,
Mm-mm.
it's a consequence of giving of yourself to others. Like Mahatma Gandhi was a significant person, but he never made it a goal to be significant. Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Martin Luther King Jr. Is a significant person, but it was never his goal to be
Be
significant.
significant.
So
Correct.
it is something that people would see rather than us to work towards.
Then making it a
Okay.
goal.
Yes. Yes. Or maybe at least in my context. At least in
Mm-mm.
my context of understanding.
You were speaking about late vocation. How did you know you were? How old were you when you got married? If I may ask, how
Yeah.
did how did you discern your way into marriage? Discern your way, if such a thing. How did you know that you were called for married life?
Yeah, you're talking about late vocation. Maybe in the time of my parents, uh,
Mm-mm.
28. I got married at 28 to Michelle. They would consider that late, but this
Mm-mm.
time parang ang aga mo namang ikasal, 28 na. So every generation, due to business, career, and generally how people think about their timelines, it gets moved further and further. No? But I discerned my vocation when I felt like I was called to really build a family. Na-excite ako sa idea of having a family. That maybe that could be the start. Even as a young
Mm-mm.
person, even as an elementary student,
You,
you'd be surprised that they people or teachers ask this question: what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? They were putting there the typical no doctor, engineer stuff. Scientist, astronaut. Ayan, para di kulangin. But I would
astronaut.
I, I would say my I want to be a dad when I grow up. I know I want to
Mm,
have a family
wow.
when I grow up. And maybe it's because of how our parents raised us. Our parents were very loving, and I saw that, hey, I love what they're doing to us. With the struggles and all, no, with all the conflicts, and sabi ko, wow, okay, parenting is something for me, and and that I see that, and when I grew up, finally, that stuck with me, and not without any thoughts that I would be a priest. No, I considered that. I prayed about it, and somehow the peace led me to married life, the challenging life of a married person. Okay, so vocare, no, to be called to
Oh,
vocation, no, to the calling, that voice led me to where I am now.
wow. Paano ba? How did yung vocation, you're talking about vocare. In your book, The Fired Up Life, you mentioned also about that. How exactly do you know? How do you know this is God's call for you?
Yeah, there's like three levels of vocation.
Mm-hmm.
So the first level would be your baptismal calling or your baptismal vocation,
Mm-hmm.
which is your call for heaven. No? You're
Mm-hmm.
called to go back to God, to be with the Father, the prodigal children that we are, right? The lost children that we are. We're called through Christ back to the Father, and that is basic. The call to holiness, the call to repentance. The next would be our state of life. No?
Mm-hmm.
So single blessedness, married life, the ordained, the religious. So yun yung mga state of life. And I fall in the category of the marriage vocation, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
And the third level, no, which is actually a supplementary call. No? So yung una foundational call, yung isa complementary call, the call to marriage complements your baptismal call. And
Mm-hmm.
lastly is the supplementary call, which supports your married life. So that's it, no? Either yung trabaho mo na pinasok mo, that is supportive of your vocation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, pag may pinasok kang trabaho that destroys your family, that is clear na that's not God's call. Okay? Pag may pinasok ka na trabaho that compromises your values, di ba? That compromises also your baptismal call. So, this is connected. So, for me, work is holy. People hate work. People loathe it. People hate Mondays. And kung pwede na lang, sunugin yung kumpanya, no? But, we lose the gratefulness. And sila naman nag-apply doon, di naman sila pinilit na mag-apply, di ba? So, I see that gap, especially for Catholics who love to serve on the weekends and totally hate their life from Monday to Friday. And I see there, yes, they hate it, but it feeds their family. But there can be a transformation there. They can see the workplace as a mission area where they can be a witness. They can see their work, the ordinary work that they do, boring as it may seem, mundane as it may seem, as a way for sacrifice, a way to save souls in purgatory, di ba? Sa hirap at parang sakripisyo na ginagawa mo, ayaw na ayaw mo. But hey, this is helping your vocation. So I see that work can be a venue for holiness and therefore lead you to your baptismal call. No, so I love that notion. Um, I got that from the late Bishop Cruz. Na he uh, Archbishop, once Archbishop here in Metro Manila, and he Oscar Cruz, yes,
Yes.
Oscar Cruz. So I read that in his book Call of the Laity, and it just blew my mind. No? How he was able to construct that, and I see kasi Marge na itong business ko. This is my place where I can practice my my life with the Lord. I don't hate my business. No? I love it. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
build it every day.
Wow. So if the, that's great, no, that you love your business. How about what can you tell those who are happy with their work and want to transition to finding or responding to the call that they have, or to that goal that they want, or have feeling that has been impressed upon them by God.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
they wanna
mean,
yeah, maybe they wanna do something else, but they're still here. How do they transition? How did you transition from
I
being an
mean,
employee to an entrepreneur?
yeah, God gives us the free will.
Mhm.
'Di ba? We are not like born and we have a sheet of paper that says, "Hey, this is what your job's gonna be when you grow up." And you sign it. Well, your godparents sign it. No, we have that free will, and that's what makes life an adventure. The work that you have now, you can optimize. I mean, you can look for another work if that work makes you happy, a better salary, better opportunities. But for some people, they downgrade even, they don't want any more that stressful life. They want a
Mm.
kahit lower salary, but a life of purpose and a life of self-transcendence, kumbaga, a life of service to others. So we have choices. But as long as we do not, we are not put in a position to commit sin. No, that's a to compromise our Christianity, to compromise our values. So for me, whatever job that LinkedIn will bring you, diba? That LinkedIn will propose to you, maybe that's where God is calling you as well. We
Mm.
will never know for sure. Kasi kaya nga we have to discern, but there is no 100% discernment. Discernment is not about knowing or not being about sigurista, but
Mm.
it's about considering all factors that this will be pleasing to God.
Mm. Can you
Diba?
take
So
us?
I mean whether I am employed or I'm a business person, I would not say that being a business person is better than being employed, or being employed is better than being a business person. Diba? There is no greater dignity. Everyone working, trying to provide for their homes and family, are it's all of equal worth and dignity. Whether you're working in the Philippines, working in abroad, sacrificing all those time so that you can build a better future, there is equal dignity, and in the eyes of the Lord. So yeah, I mean, latch on the purpose. If you're suffering, if you're like don't like your job so much, but you're sticking with it, 'di ba? Kasi ayaw mo naman din mag-resign.
Mm.
Tapos hate mo yung work mo. So, kung hindi mo kaya mag-resign, then you have to shift your attitude. You have to latch on the purpose. Okay, I don't like my work so much, but I love the purpose of why I am here, to provide for my family. This blesses my children. This pays for the bills of my lola. This uh, pays the mortgages of our future investments. So you love the output, but it is but fair to also learn to love the work that you're doing by starting to be grateful with the things you don't even like to do, di ba? So
Mm.
there are not necessary efforts we have to do.
I understand. Like for teachers out there, di ba, they like teaching, but they don't like checking the tests or grading or something. So, but there are things that you have to do. Hindi naman lahat ng ginagawa mo sa work is happy. There are still routines or stuff or admin stuff. Unless you can delegate them, there are still things that you have to do yourself. Just like chores.
Yeah.
You want to have a peaceful, happy home, but you have to make an effort to clean and to wash the dishes, and put order in your home. I'm just curious, Brother Kirby, how did you know your purpose in life? So how will you know this is God's call for me? Let's
Yeah.
zero into to work or to state of life. Maybe some tips on discernment.
Yeah, what I did, I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
Yeah, kasi there can be different school of thoughts, and at
Mm.
least this is mine. You have to put it in writing. Kasi maraming nagsasabi, feeling ko ito yung purpose ko. Nasulat mo ba yan, di ba? So, I mean, having it written down has a sense of hindi naman certainty, no, but more of peace, no. When you write it down and you feel good about it, you feel that you feel a certain peace, and that peace can be indicative that that's where God is leading you. So that's what I did. But not only did I write my purpose, because this is what I see as a missing element in a lot of people who teach about purpose and vision,
Mm-mm.
mission, is passion.
Mhm.
What is your passion? Because your passion is about who you are, and your purpose is about what you're called to do, basing on who you are, di ba? Kung
Mm.
sino ka. Kunwari, a practical example, iba-iba tayo magkakaibigan. May isa mahilig sa art, may isa ayaw ng art, mahilig sa math, mahilig sa management, right brainer, or so I'm sorry, left brainer yon. Yung isa naman artist, no, right brainer. And they of course try to choose a course in college or try to pursue a passion that is inclined to their strengths, right? So they will apply into something or follow a path as much as possible that is aligned to who they are. So the
Mhm.
choices that we make in life are really based on what we feel can make us happy and what we feel can give us a meaningful life. Kaya
Mhm.
maraming anak nagre-rebelde pag pinilit ng parents, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Na pinilit ako ng daddy ko. Now I'm a doctor, but I'm earning well naman, so thank you parents, no? But uh as long as they can say that, hey, I learned to love it. But if they grow up like loathing about it, I wish I lived another life, the life that I chose. Diba? So that's why there's adulthood kasi we can make our own choices. Then so there, well, you have to write it down. You have to determine your passion.
Mhm.
What am I good at? What are my strengths? What do I know? What is my skill set? And am I happy pursuing these things? Now,
Mhm.
the purpose is the venue. Who am I called to serve?
Mhm.
What type of people? So I just got a message from somebody. She felt called, no, attorney to siya. She
Mhm.
felt called to serve the people in the prisons. You see that? Na kasi she loves defending the weak. That's who she is. That's her passion. Justice is her passion. Kaya nga attorney.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of injustices in the prisons. That is why feeling niya that is where she's called to serve. Yun yung kanyang purpose. So you see how it's connected.
Mhm. Beautiful. So from your, if you know yourself, your identity, that's where the purpose comes from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So typical, I am a son of God. I'm a daughter of God. That's who I am. So I am called to act as one, to act as one, to relate to other people as a son and daughter of God with all the virtues that I asked, no, we asked from the Lord to have. So saan mo ngayon i-apply yung pagiging anak ng Diyos mo? Yun na yung purpose. I'm called to serve the poor. I'm called to serve the emotionally depressed. I'm called to serve the mentally incapacitated. No? These things. So, ayan, Marge, that's how I would at least see it from my perspective.
Thanks, Kirby. How about the call to state of life? Look, as a married person right now, when you were single, what were the things that you wish you knew when you were single? Looking back, right?
Well,
In
I've
hindsight.
got no regrets marrying my wife. If that's if that's I have to put that first
Okay.
in put
Yes,
it
have
down on
to.
writing, or at least state that as a fact. No, so I have no regrets at all. No, but perhaps if I were to look back, because not all relationships became successful. No, and we are not exempted, or we are not bulletproof of hurts. Natatamaan din tayo, friendly fire, hindi sinasadya. No, so I somehow hurt some people. No, I somehow, and of course I asked for their forgiveness, and we're all good friends and we're all healed. But somehow there are these things that, because of maybe wrong decisions or maybe a lack of sensitivity,
Mhm.
we are able to inflict pain emotionally to other people, and of course vice versa. That pain is also inflicted upon me. Now,
Mhm.
so I wish I knew more about how to handle relationships, handle friendships better, and be able to really have that clear guide, no, like a certain mentor who would tell me,
Mm,
this is the
the
way. No,
right.
I had
Right,
mentors.
right.
I had mentors. They were really good. But how I wish I asked more. You
Mm,
see? How I wish I asked more. And in the mystery of the Lord's plan naman, we he writes straight in our crooked
crooked
line
lines.
lives, no? So I am led to my misis, di ba? So I now see that all as part of my learning journey. No,
So,
kumbaga broken, we go from to being broken and to be made whole. No, and it's a process. It's a process. So I wish I asked more things from my mentor, so these hurts could have been avoided.
Mhm. So how do you prepare for marriage, Kirby?
How do I prepare?
Ay, yeah.
How did I?
How did you? How did you?
Kasal na ako eh. So
How did you?
well, it's a process of getting to know the person. If I would go back that far,
Mm.
build the foundation of friendship. Now, of course, you get attracted to the person. Uy, okay to, parang baka Lord, baka ito na yon, no? So, abang nagdadasal ng ganun, pinipray over din yung tao, no? Baka siya na to, Lord. Di ba? Nag-worship, ganun, praise and worship. Pinipray over na rin, no? Sa isang kamay, ganun. So, sana, no? And, you get attracted. So, somehow, that's a physical attraction. I would read it in some books as eros, pero
Mm.
baka yung interpretation ng eros is very
Ah,
sensual and sexual, but
mm-mm.
it's also about attraction.
Mhm.
So, you get attracted. Mangguguluhan ka kasi yung kaibigan mo hindi naman attracted sa tao na attracted ka, no? So there is that somehow connection, right? And I go into the friendship. So we would spend a lot of time talking about fun stuff kami ni Michelle. No? Meron kaming tinatawag na one-time, big-time. Maliit lang sweldo namin as missionaries before. But when the allowance came, we would treat ourselves and we would be with friends. And I would see that we were having a lot of fun. We were having a lot of things that we could openly discuss to one another. So there's that stage called philia, no? Or the friendship, di ba? Philadelphia, the city of brotherhood, city of
Mm.
so ano yun yung meaning of Philadelphia. So philia, no? So there's
Interesting.
that foundation of friendship. No, you are attracted, then you become friends.
Mm.
And finally, the agape, which is, will
Marriage.
you marry me? Parang buong buhay, habang buhay, magkakasama tayo through thick and thin,
Mhm.
through small waistlines to big waistlines, through full hair to no hair, no, through sickness and in health, and I saw that, no, na nagka-COVID kaming mag-asawa, then ito na yung in sickness. Okay, ito na yung kahirapan, ito na yung
Mm.
hawak kamay tayo, we were 15 years married, and I
Happy.
saw that agape at its foundation is those two things, the eros and the philia. Those two things. Kasi the Greeks would define it in three ways. Sa atin, isang word lang, love. That's why
Love.
there's a lot of misconception about love, no? Falling in love, out of love, and it's not feeling lang. It's about really commitment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
So,
that's how I would see how I prepared for marriage.
sorry.
Okay, in that sequence, it
Mm.
was agape is always challenged kasi the first 7 years of marriage, at least according to psychologists and statistics, maraming naghihiwalay in the first 7 years because of a lot of adjustments, maybe a lot of weaknesses as well that cannot be forgiven, or a lot of frustrations. And hey, a lot of people are really susceptible to that. Kaya kailangan talaga yung foundation of philia, or the companionship, the friendship is strong. Kasi the feelings will be gone. Alam naman natin
Yeah.
'yun. 'Di ba? Parang sa trabaho lang, oy, in love na in
Mm-mm.
love ka sa trabaho mo, then later on, ano ba 'tong trabaho ko, 'di ba? No? Masayang-masaya ka na
Mm.
tinanggap ka ng boss mo, no, na in job interview ka after a year, para ano ba 'tong trabaho ko, no? So
Mm.
it now demands a certain giving of self.
Commitment and service. Bakit ngayon, Kirby, mahirap parang mag-commit yung iba? Like they're afraid of, the reason why I'm asking is some people are afraid of going to the agape part, or to the next stage of relationship. There's a fear of commitment. How do we solve or overcome that?
Yeah. In Halloween, 'di ba? During Halloween, may bagong costume na nga sinusuot ng mga tao. Yung t-shirt lang may nakalagay commitment. Tapos
Mm.
marami nang tatakbo. They're afraid, they're afraid of commitment.
Oo
So
nga.
that's the memes that I read during Halloween at least, no. Sa Valentine's okay sila, pero pag Halloween na, takbuhan na, no. So yeah, because a lot of people fear the future. Sigurista, basically. If you're a sigurista, you don't take risks, and love is a risk. Relationships, there's always a risk there. Ayoko nang magmahal. Ayoko nang mag-commit kasi masasaktan lang ako.
Mhm.
And that's why people don't define their relationships. Kasi the moment it is defined, there is commitment.
Mhm.
So when they define it, nako, tayo na. No, their sense of freedom is
Responsibility.
yeah, and
Oo.
there is
Ayun
that.
ang
No,
ano.
there's exclusivity,
Mm.
there's responsibility, there's commitment, basically. So people actually have a hard time discerning towards that because that's a big step. It
Mm.
means you have to give up something.
Mhm.
Di ba pag nag-commit ka, kailangan mo ng oras dyan. Mawawalan ka ng oras. So, either boys or girls or women or men, meron ding mga tao na takot talaga mag-commit kasi they know what they will lose and they're afraid to let go of that.
Freedom.
Maybe they would lose time for themselves. Maybe they don't want to limit themselves to one person, or maybe there are so many factors really.
Mhm.
So because of that, tapos doubt,
Mm.
basically doubt, no?
Self-doubt.
Siya na ba talaga? Or
Mm.
am
Or
I worthy for that person? So
mm.
there can be that insecurity that would stop them from committing. Parang sisirain ko lang yung buhay niya, so wag na lang, no? I love that person so much. I cannot be with that because I love that person so much. Baka masira buhay niya or something. So it's a level of insecurity.
Mm.
Or the opposite naman is more of pride, no? Na
Mm.
hindi siya karapat dapat para sa akin. So so you want to find the middle ground. You become
Mm.
humble, and your goal is to serve that person that you love. And the big question is, Lord, siya nga na ba talaga? Is she or he the one? And I would say a lot of people overthink it.
Did you ask God that question, Kirby, when you
Definitely, definitely,
so how did you
definitely.
know she's the one?
Yeah, because
How
my
did you
wife,
know?
my wife attracted different suitors, eh. And sabi ko, when I when I see her with another person, I get hurt so much. Parang hindi ko kakayanin na hindi maging kami. Basically, I couldn't stand to lose her. So that's what made me convicted. No? So at least that's my story. I don't know about the others, but when I saw her with another person, kasi nga courtship stage pa lang, women are afforded that naman.
Mhm.
Parang di ko kaya, Lord. Siya na to. Kasi yung iba, a lot of guys, they get into good friendship. Pero they doubt, siya nga ba talaga? Do I really love this person?
Mhm.
And the friendships test it. Kasi in friendships, there can be conflicts. It's not all roses. There are thorns in friendships. No? And if you are able to overcome these conflicts, so Michelle and I had a big conflict before we became us. There was like a test of friendship, and we overcame that, and that became a signal. Wait, we can make this work. This
Mhm.
will work. Kaya ayun, na-invest in the friendship time. Huwag magmadali.
Mm.
Kasi kung sa'yo yan, di sa'yo, di ba? Then if that person is for you, then it will be forever. So what's the rush? Of course, there are certain people who would want it right away. Pero wouldn't it be a bigger waste of time if you rushed into it, then later on not be happy with it? So
Oh,
yeah, invest in the friendship. It's a
but
bit cliche. It's a bit cliche, but
I
it's
agree.
it's it's real. It's true.
I
Is
agree.
the person you're with right now, for the married people who are listening? Are you still friends? Di
Mm.
ba? Are you still friends, or are you like border mates?
Oh, roommates. Good, Kirby, how do we differentiate yung friends sa friends with intention. Kasi right now, a lot of us, sige, as a friend, we're like always hanging out, talking, di ba? Pero parang, okay, we're being friends, pero walang patutunguhan. Paano ba to? Paano mo ba yun i-navigate na, okay, we build a friendship, but you also know you want it to parang take the next step or the next level. So when do you say, okay, tama na to, or continue? I mean, kung friend lang talaga, as in like platonic friend, that's, you can, it's okay. But in a dating relationship, how do you navigate friendship?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's quite clear. For others, it's blurry. When
Mm-hmm.
the guy is starting to make romantic advances, you start to question na, what are
Mm-hmm.
your intentions? Just
Mm-hmm.
ano lang, ask straight. Baka yung ibang guy, takot lang magsabi, but the girl can actually say, what are your intentions? O di, pag sabihin ni guy, I'll get back to you on that. O di, at least, when are you gonna get back to me on that? Di ba?
Nakakatawa yun.
What are your intentions? Anong balak mo?
I'll
What are your
email you.
intentions? Kasi romantic na eh. Hindi na friendship eh. Kumbaga may pa-heart-heart na eh. May 3 heart na sa text eh. And meron ng
Tatlong heart.
love you. May mga ganun-ganun na eh. Love you as a friend. Parang, so, as a friend nga ba talaga? So, um, I think, and it can be my opinion.
Mhm.
The girl can call it out. What are your intentions? No, so pag sinabi ni guy, as a friend lang talaga. Kasi some guys can be careless in the
Mm-mm.
way, they like the girl as a friend. It's
Mhm.
true, but they can also do gestures that can be misconstrued or
Misleading. Yeah.
misinterpreted by
Mhm.
the girl who probably likes the guy. So for
Mhm.
me, it's okay. What are your intention? Kasi kaysa naman si girl magantay for a year, only wasting that year that girl could have other suitors.
Mm.
And that guy somehow nabakuran, wala namang palang plano. Right?
Mm.
Wala namang palang plano. And I would say this, if that friendship becomes hurtful, give space muna kasi nasaktan na si girl.
Mhm.
And you can say that. I mean, you can say, can I just have a little bit of space? Because I actually feel a little bit hurt,
Mhm.
and you can have that. You have the freedom to have that. So, yes, the guy can say sorry or whatever. At least there is a clear line where the intentions are stated. In the current lingo, it's called label. No?
Mm.
Kailangan
Define the
malagyan ng
label. Read the label.
kailangan malagyan ng clarity.
Mhm.
Clarity. Kasi without clarity, there's no commitment. Simple. No, you can't commit to something. Sige, sunduin kita. Sige, everyday tayo. Tapos tatanungin ni girl after 7 months. Ano nga tayo? Kasi nag-kiss na, may mga romantic gestures niya. Gusto naman ng girl kasi maybe it can lead to something better. Tapos si guy naman, walang clarity.
Mhm.
So, it's, man, it's gonna be hurtful. It's gonna be hurtful
Mhm. Mhm.
towards the end. Hindi din magwo-workout pag ganun. So, yes. So, guys should at least see the potential of marriage
Mhm.
if they are gonna do courtship or express something romantic. Wag naman na will you marry me agad na, pero I mean, at least may nakikita na future. Kung walang future na nakikita, di baka that guy can spend time with other people na lang rather than hurting the girl in the end.
So you can't be friends with that person anymore.
You can be friends, but there is clarity.
Mm.
O di at least gusto ni girl si guy.
Mm-mm.
Tapos sinabi naman ni guy na wala din
Friend lang
talaga siyang
talaga. Mm-mm.
friend lang. And that's okay. I mean, if it's not gonna make the life of the girl miserable and
Mm.
excruciating, I think that can be managed because feelings can change.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings can mature, can be shifted, can develop,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agree.
So, yes, you can be friends. You can be friends. But if you are in another relationship
Mm-hmm.
and still have that, kailangan ng space talaga dyan.
Talagang,
Because it
so you
can, it,
remove that, you don't be a friend anymore, or parang acquaintance na lang, or
yeah, give space means like don't communicate
mm,
as much as you should unless you have an official need. Like kailangan mo ng
mm,
ng kanin kasi naubusan ng kanin, mga ganun. Naubusan ng things that other friends would also ask of you. So yes.
that's in the context of a dating and relationships. But if you really want to have like deep friendships, possible naman siya na very platonic. Bro, I'm gonna ask din, parang for the sake of the married women who are listening to us, is that okay if the guy or their husband have friendships with women, other girls? As long as the wife knows, and
Yeah, as long as the wife is friends with that
yeah,
person
that's true.
also.
What if parang that friend is from another, kumbaga, not within the circle of the wife, parang from the college years or high school years, is how do you,
Pakilala.
mm,
Ipakilala
yeah,
and be made aware that you are communicating but not communicating all the time.
that's
Di
true.
ba? So, I mean,
Trust
whatever
and
hurts
take,
the spouse, would potentially hurt the spouse, don't do it.
it's
Don't do
good
it.
advice.
No. If it could potentially hurt the marriage,
Don't.
don't indulge. Don't na. If in doubt, don't.
Very good. Thank you so much, Kirby, for that clarity. That's very, very true. Marami kasi din, di ba? Parang men who are, like right now, online kasi. So parang easy to chat, easy to just,
Yes.
connect with people. But you have to
Yeah.
also respect respect your wife and respect the marriage and the marriage commitment. And love
That's
your
right.
wife also.
Yeah, kaya group chat na lang, no? Mag-group chat kayo.
Yay! So anything else you want to share, Kirby, about getting fired up? If do you kahit na you're such the passionate guy that you are, that we know that you're the fired up man or fired up guy, you still feel unmotivated sometimes, and how do you get
Yeah.
out of it? How do you get out
Yeah.
of that rut?
That is why I advocate this because I feel it.
Hmm,
You cannot advocate something of which pain you have not experienced. And in
that's
terms of motivation, we're all human beings. There will be days when I would feel unmotivated, lalo na pag sunod-sunod yung work, pagod na pagod, I feel burned out. And because I find ways to overcome them, I share them.
mhm. How do you
So
overcome burnout, Kirby?
rest.
Okay. How
Rest. It's
how do you rest?
God rested on the sixth day. Diba? Or was it what no, he created human beings on the sixth
6
day
days.
and then rested on the seventh day and saw that what he did was good.
Mhm.
Kasi for people, they see rest as escape. No, no. Rest is appreciating your work. You have to earn your rest and you have to rest well to be able to work well. So, di ba? So, ay, salamat Sabado or Linggo, whatever day of rest you have. Then, hindi ka naman nag-work ng maayos during the week.
Mm,
Ah, nag-ano ka lang,
Netflix.
nagde-date ka lang para lang ma-connect sa second topic natin,
Okay.
di ba? Yung focus mo doon lang napunta sa girl, sa guy, siya lang iniisip mo sa office, then suddenly you demand, okay, Sunday na. When you didn't do good work on the weekday, you don't feel rested.
That's
You
true.
feel guilty. You feel like stressed kasi alam mo sa Monday tatambak to.
Mhm.
All right? So, we have to earn our rest, right? And when we do, we can say like what God said in Genesis, no, at least from the writers. He said, well, what I did was good. What I created was very good.
Mhm.
Diba? Ganun din tayo. No, I did good work this week. I didn't watch Netflix during work time. Diba? So I watch Netflix lang after work. Ganon.
Mm.
So hindi ako nag-binge. So something like that, no? You feel good about work. And when you have that good feeling, then you rest well. Yung iba din kasi they overdo it, Marge.
Mhm,
They don't respect the Sabbath. They don't respect the rest.
mhm,
They still work on the supposed days of rest. Kaya you do that for 3 weeks straight, you get burned out
mhm,
and you want to quit because of that. So yeah, manage your rest. Make be happy, be with your friends,
mhm,
kasi that can also help you cope with the things that you're doing, having good friendships,
mhm,
having fellowship, being with one another,
mhm.
right? So yeah, there you go. So
And
I just wanted to connect the relationships and the passion, the purpose. It all is part of our lives.
yes, yes. Well, yeah, every week you should have a day of rest, and preferably the Sunday, which is the Lord's day. You spend time with the Lord and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Um, and you can also have or carve a me time within the week, or a short mini retreat within your day, just like what you do after work, where you walk and listen to podcasts, or maybe hear music, or watch a Netflix movie as a reward, and play with your kids and stuff. Thank you so much, Kirby, for gracing us today, and for the wisdom that you have shared with us. You are glowing, not just at your back, but glowing from the inside with the fire of the Holy Spirit. I really, really feel your fire. So thank God for that, and thank you for allowing yourself to be used by Him in many ways, in all ways, and not keeping that fire, but allowing that lamp to shine, so that we too can shine. I just remember this quote that when you allow when you shine your light to others, in, impossible that that light will not also rest on you. So the more you give, you also receive, and it gives you lots of joy and happiness. And when you are in that state, you are rested even if you are working, because there's peace, deep peace, that you're fulfilling your life's work or life's mission. So Kirby, thank you for reminding us of that. And yes, may we live fully and die empty, and rest with God when it's time. But every day we remember that we will die too. There's a deadline. But we thank God that we are still here and alive and breathing, because we still have things to purpose to fulfill and people to love. Thank you so much, Kirby, again.
Thank
And
you, Din. Thank you, Din, for inviting me here, for having this opportunity to process my thoughts and see where I stand in the questions that you've asked me. That's also a revelation for myself.
mm,
Sometimes when you talk to people, you get to know yourself more. So
that's
hey, thanks
true.
for this opportunity.
Thank you guys for listening to us, and for coming back every Saturday, or whenever you listen to this, or hear this. We wish you well, and we wish you lots of joy and peace, and stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, and I hope that you will fulfill God's purpose for your life. Thank you, and have a blessed R&R.